The Mystery of BELICENA VILLCA. Second Book. The Letter of BELICENA VILLCA. 30th Day. The four priests of Jehovah Satan were meditating about the announcement of the immortals. Then, the 12th manifestation of the Shekinah would occur, very near from there, in Rusbal, and they would be protagonists of that extraordinary portent. Only other priests of Israel could comprehend the ecstasy that the four of them experienced before such possibility. Because only the soul of a Jew is capable to understand the Shekinah. The most excited was the great master of the temple. Oh, what a great honor, he shivery thought, that to my order has been entrusted the custody of such sacred place. The own God will descend now amongst the hours. And with this style, each one of them released their Galeen and rabbinic fantasies. Indeed, priests, approved Bishar, reading the thought of the presence, you will contribute as nobody to execute the plans of God. Thousands of Galeen monks and Hebrew doctors are working for the establishment of the universal synarchy. All of them are favored by Elohim, and they will be magnificently rewarded. But only four of you know, today, the announcement of the Shekinah, and only to you, and to whom you call to collaborate, Eve will consider responsible of the water holocaust that Quiblon will offer in his day. Rejoice then, priests, because the triple holocaust of Quiblon, one of the most sanguinary of history, will be attributed to you, if you comply with the mission that we will entrust you. Of that depends the realization of the plan of Eve. On it rests, priests, one of the pillars of history. Now that the evil has been extirpated from Huelvik, continued Beret, now that the blood of Tharsis has been converted in lie, we will entrust you a very simple mission, which is to affirm the good on the earth. And the good is Eve. And Eve can only descend in Holy Land. To you correspond, priests of Eve, the purification of the earth. The gaze of Beret was questioner. Yes, exclaimed Nessie and Benjamin with one voice. The purification of the earth is the work of the priests. To sanctify it is faculty of God. Agree, priests. We, the representatives of Melchizedek, command you to purify this land of Huelvik, erase any vestige of the mystery of cold fire, clean the stain of the cult of the Virgin of the Grotto. And above all, remove the remembrance of this tenebrous deity. Because there will be no peace, nor in earth nor in heaven, and Rusbal will not be holy land, while the perturbing presence of Virgin of Agartha keeps carrying the damned seed. Naturally, said Bishar, that such atonement will only be effective if a cult is replaced by another. In consequence, we also command you to implant in all the necessary places the new cult of the Virgin of Miracles. She will illuminate with her warm fire the shades that the intruder shed. When the Gentiles give their hearts unconditionally, the intruder will be forgotten, the remembrance of her abomination will be obscured, and the earth will be purified. Then, and only then, the Shekinah will descend in Rusbal. But that cult already exists, interrupted the great master of the temple. Precisely in La Abada is worshipped the Virgin of Miracles, the ancient Proserpina of Pelos, Lady of the Rage. You're wrong, priests. A short Beret, smiling horribly. I am referring to a new cult that will also replace the one that you are mentioning, the cult of the Great Mother Bina, to whom you will advocate as Virgin of Miracles, to avoid that the Gentiles suspect the substitution, but who will receive many sacred names, only knew by the initiated priests, Galeen and rabbis. I am referring to the Virgin of Pomegranate, or the Virgin of the Cinder, or the Virgin of the Barker, or the Virgin of the Earthen Child, or the Virgin of the Warm Fire. Bring priests, bring now the sculptor monk that you have brought from France. The abbot of Clairvaux went out hasty from the library, and 1 instant later he was entering, followed by a humble Cistercian monk, who was carrying in his hands a scroll of parchment and a smut of charcoal. The monk stopped before Beret, followed by the abbot, and contemplated terrified the diabolic countenance of the immortal. Listen well, miserable. snapped Beret, with his eyes full of hate. "I will make you a warning about what you'll see in this place. You'll never talk with no one. You will comply with your work and then you'll cloister forever in an enclosed monastery. And you don't dare to disobey our mandate, because the earth will be small to hide your betrayal. However, we don't trust you, and you will be watched day and night since now. But you must know, mortal creature, that not even death could save you from us, because, to the own hells, we'll go to punish you. Have you understood the risks that you run?" The poor monk had thrown himself to the ground, to the feet of Beret, and he was trembling, as a frightened dog. No, I would never dare to betray you." He was babbling, without lifting the gaze from the feet of Beret, without daring to see again the mortal threat of his eyes. "You better be telling the truth," said with irony such king of the lie, that was Beret. "Get up, dog," he ordered with rudeness, and watch the page of this open book. "What do you see on it?" The four priests looked each other, astonished because the immortals were showing to the sculptor monk, who was neither theologian nor Kabbalist, and much less an initiate, a secret drawer of the Spherica. Trying to calm himself, the sculptor supported his both hands on the edge of the ramp table, and observed the indicated page. What he saw made him forget immediately the bitter, previous moments, and he would repeat to himself all his life, that rewarded all the afflictions suffered before that moment. For first time he felt free of guilt, without sin, forgiven by a piety which came from inside of the soul, as if the soul was participating of a divine joy, and who inspired such feeling of anemic freedom, that security of being accepted by God, and loved by Christ, was the most beautiful and majestic image of the Mother of God, that the monk had ever seen. Because, in peace, as though she was alive, while sustained the child in her arms, the mother looked him fleetingly, and was in that moment that he felt forgiven, in peace, as if she would have tell him, "Go, Son of God, that I will intercede, to make that the rigor of his law, not be recalcitrant with you. Comply your mission, and do a portrait of me, in the plenitude of my holiness, to make that men could see also the miracle that you see. Comply with all your talent and the great countenance of God will smile to you." "Is so beautiful," screamed the sculptor, completely hallucinated. "Only a few hands guided by the grace of God, and a stone blessed by the Almighty, could realize the work that they asked me. But I will put my hands to the service of God, and you, who are powerful, will provide me of the best alabaster stone of the world." And deploying the scroll next to the book, he started to draw feverishly the portrait of a virgin, with the child of newfangled features. The four priests were him surprised, due to, it was evident that his vision not came from the book's Federica, at least from the page that was at sight, but from another reality, of a celestial world, that had been opened before his eyes and had revealed the lady of his inspiration. With unusual patience, the immortals awaited a large hour until the monk seemed to return to reality. Over the table was placed completed the graphic synthesis of the supernatural vision. "Eminences, now I understand your reserves," said the carver, still exited. "You undoubtedly, with the authorization of the Lord, have allowed to me to lean out in heaven and contemplate the Holy Mother. I assure you that even if I will always remember it, and my word remains as testimony of this vision, I will never say a word about the origin of the same. As you warned me at the beginning, I respond for it with my life." But here he narrowed his eye, and reflected aloud, for himself, what is death, before the even more terrifying possibility to lose the favor of the Mother of God, to fail her. "I will comply," he said, screaming now. "Oh, yes. I will comply for her." "Do you feel capable to carve the statue that we need?" asked Bishwa, without many contemplations for the mystical state of the sculptor monk. "Oh, yes. I will put all my heart, and the divine inspiration overwhelms me, to make the most perfect finish to this image." And he signalized the charcoal sketch drawings over the fine leather of the scroll. In these were exposed a sublime mother, gifted of a beautiful countenance of Israelite features, and dressed with same nationality, with the head covered by a large mantle, down to her waist, and sustaining the child, with the left hand, while in the right one, she wore an scepter crowned, with pomegranate. The corpse body of the mother gave the impression of being slightly inclined to the left, peradventure to leave that the divine child occupies the center of the scene. The child, by his part, was looking straight and blessing the observed with a gesture of the right hand, while in the left he sustained a sphere or herbish treasure. Both, the mother and child, were crowned. The mother was wearing a queen's crown, that the sculptor annotated, which had constructed of pure gold, and the child had over, a hoop of silver in halo, 3 almond flowers proportionally separated. From the 6th petal of each flower, sprouted 9 rays, symbol of the 9 powers of the Messiah. To the feet of Virgin, divers symbols, as snails and fishes, indicated the marine nature of the devotion. She by herself was situated over the waves. "We will trust in you up to a point, although you will be watched," threatened Bishwa, after he examined the sketch. "We like what you have seen, and what you want to do. You are fortunate, Lamb of God. Now go back to your cell, you have much to pray for and meditate." Moments later the 6 of them were gathered before the sphericare. "What was the vision of the monk, O immortals?" "Certainly that was not the figure of the page lamed?" asked the abbot of Clairvaux. "Certainly not," answered Bishwa. "Pray, make the sculptor to eat a grain of this fruit." And he signalized the pomegranate binder. "In fact," confirmed Beret, "we have allowed the monk to peek into the 7th heaven, the palace where the Messiah dwells, and the divine couple of the aspects of Eve that reigns the 7th heaven. The mother Bina, shedding the creator intelligence of Eve Elohim, with the warm fire of his love. And the blow of Eve, is the soul of the Messiah, the child whose form is Mitratan, whose horses are both, the clouds, whose round is realized over the waters of Avia, the ether, and whose manifestation is the Shekinah, the descent of Eve, onto the kingdom. We have done this because we needed to represent such vision over a first stone, and to exhibit it in La Rapida, to replace the statue of Bishop Macarius, that the Templar guarded. The carving will be realized in secrecy, and, when it is finished, you will substitute it with the major discretion. It will be affirmed then, with more emphasis than ever, that the same is work of the evangelist, that the own Saint Luke carved in the 1st century. It is important to do it in this way because Quiblin someday will reach to Ruspal to confirm the key, that will be Sam, it means, Shekinah, Avia, Mitratan, the universal key of the Messiah. For the new image of the Virgin of Miracles, he will know that there will be manifested the Shekinah, you gift it with the verb of Mitratan, through Avia, the ether. As you know, this image of the Zaphirotic Rimon tree, symbolizes to Adam La, the man of above, also called Adam Ketman, the primordial man, that is to say, the human form of Eve, which is reproduced in Adam Harishon, the terrestrial man. In the fruits of the divine pomegranate of life, are the 10 archetypal names numbers with which he adopted the aforementioned form and gave existence to all the created entities. These names numbers called Zephyrat, are the nexus between the unity of Eve, and the plurality of the entities. For Eve, the Zephyrat are identical and one with the one. For the world, the Zephyrat are different and give existence to the multiple that constitute the reality. Seen from the world, by us, the created beings, the 10 Zephyrat emanate successively from the one without dividing it, and springs from the tree Rimon. The first fruit is Keter, the crown of Ahai, the essential aspect of Eve. Beneath the Keter, is the throne of God, the highest of the creation. Keter is the saint elder, Atika Atisha, or even more, the ancient of the days Atika Dephicam. He seats on the throne and even he reaches alone to Metatron, who descends sometime amongst men, as he spake with Moses in the Sinai, and guided them to the ancient of the days. Is what said to Moses, I am who I am, Ahai, Asher, Ahai, Exodus 3:14. The power of Ahai is extended directly over the seraphim, Herioth Hekados, that's to say, holy souls, constructor angels of the universe. From Keter emerges the second of the Zephirot, the Zephirah Egma, the wisdom of Yah, the Father God. The Egma is the divine thought of all the entities. There is nothing that already existed, exists, or will exist, that was not before in potency in the Egma. Many are the grains of this fruit, father of all the fruits of the earth. This same image of the tree Rimmon is product of the Zephirah Egma, which in this case reveals to itself who is present in the Egma, and introduce men in the sphere of the Father, is Raziel, the angel who wrote for Adam, in the first book of the law. But the wisdom of the Father crosses the duct hat, and is reflected in Binah, the third Zephirah, which divine intelligence is necessary to fulfill the creation of the thought entities. Binah is the great universal mother. For her the wisdom of the Father produces the fruits of the world and the content of the worlds. The warm fire of his universal love floods the ether of Yah, and transmits to all the worlds the intelligence of Elohim, the third aspect of the One. Under his power of the energetic angels, Elohim, who acts in the sphere of Saturn, but the main angel, the one who communicates men with the Divine Mother, is Zeph, who was guider of Noah, the great navigator. Binah is the Lady of the Seamen. Keter, Egma and Binah constitute the great countenance of the elder Eric Anpine. The seven Zephirot of construction that remain form the small countenance of God, reflection of the great countenance, and first access to the One that men can obtain starting from any created thing. The next Zephirot are numerations, which emanated from the essential Trinity Keter, Egma and Binah, Holiest, and Netzah, that are at the right of the tree Rimmon. They are male as the father, Din, and Hod, female, as the mother, fructify from the left of the pomegranate. In the central column of a trunk, grows the neutral fruits, that synthesizes the opposites of the two successive trinities. Din, Tifloth, Holiest, creator and productive, and Hod, yes, Netzah, executor and concentrator of the entities. At last, in the center is Malkout, the kingdom, that reflects to Keter, the crown, and the synthesis manifests the form of the Ancient of the Days. For the kingdom descends the Shekinah to the earth, and the kingdom of God will be concentrated in the earth, when the Shekinah takes the form of the chosen people, governed by the King Messiah. The fourth Zephirah is the Holiest, the grace of Elohai, his mercy and piety is the right hand of Eve, and under his power are these creatures of the heavens called dominions, or Hazarmalim, which act in the sphere of Jupiter. The main angel is Zekel, which guides out of Abraham. The fifth Zephirah is Din, the rigor of Lohimibah. From this fruit comes the law of God, and its grains are the sentences of his tribunal. Every human act, and every entity of the creation, must submit to the judgment of Jbera, of Lohimibah. Is the left hand of Eve, and under his power are the authorities called Seraphim, who influence in the sphere of Marduk. The main angel is Carmel, the protector of Samson. The sixth Zephirah is Tifloth, the beauty of Eve. United with the Zephirah Holiest, and Din, conform the triad productor of the created entities, Din, Tifloth, Holiest, but, in reality Tifloth, is the heart of Eve, the seat of the warm fire of the great mother Binah. In Tifloth, the forms acquire the archetypal perfection of the supreme beauty. The acts of men, inspired by Tifloth, can only be acts of love, and the created entities are irrigated amongst them by the universal love that the heart of Eve irradiates. In Tifloth, everything is beauty and perfect, because the wisdom Egma of the flawless thought things, and the intelligence Binah of his conception, produced by the grace Holiest, and adjusted to the rigor Din of the law, shines in its fruit. But Tifloth is not a pomegranate but a strawberry, that is to say, a rose, are the part of the message one the love of Eve, towards the anemic man. The strawberry Tifloth is transformed in rose, when the heart of the terrestrial men shelters the warm fire of the animal passion. Under his power of the angels, that operate through the sphere of the sun, the virtues called Malachim. And here exist two powerful angels, one, Raphael, who was guider of Isaac, and the other, Peliel, who lettered the destiny of Jacob. Some angels, who should be higher out here. They are the seraphim Nephilim, that the white Atlantans accuse of traitor angels, but really they serve to Eve, with energetic dedication, carrying out their plans of human progress and favoring the creation of the universal synarchy of the chosen people. They founded the wide fraternity, and established their residence in the heart of Eve, and of them depend the occult hierarchy of priests of the earth. The seventh Zephyrah, Netzah, reveals the victory of Eve-Sebarat, the god of the celestial armies. Is the right column of the temple, Jechim, and under his power are the principalities, or Elohim, the angels that influence from the sphere of Venus. Saraviel, the director angel of David, chairs it. The eighth Zephyrah is Hod, the glory of Elohim Sebarat, the left column of the temple, Beaz, who dominates the archangels, Ben Elohim, which is expressed from the sphere of Mercury. Michael, the inspirer of Solomon, is here the main angel. The ninth Zephyrah is Yes, the fundament of the creation of Eve. Saturn, the Almighty, is the reproductive organ of Eve, and, with Netzah and Hod, compose the last constructor triad or executive. Hod, Yes, Netzah. Its power includes the angels known as cherubim, who are manifested from the sphere of the moon, and the main angel is Gabriel, protector of Daniel. And the 10th Zephyrah is Malkut, the kingdom of Adonai-Melech, the Lord King of the creation, last reflect of the Ancient of the Ancients. For this reason, under his power are situated all the members of the occult hierarchy, and the white fraternity, the Isim, of the chosen people. And for them the main angel is Metatron, the soul of the Messiah. Malkut is the inferior mother, as Binah is the superior mother, but, if the descent of the inferior mother is externalized in the chosen people, and this passes to be the Shekinah, the mystical wife of Eve,